Audio Jungle.
When I was just a child, I watched my mother as she smiled, and I could see that she was proud of me.
Audio Jungle.
Not for only what I'd done, or all the things I would become, not the things I would grow up to be. She loved me just for who I was, not when or if, was just because I was her kid, her love was guaranteed. Oh, and on my mom I could depend. She was my greatest fan, my friend, and it's still true from then till now and until the end. Oh, I wanna sing a song for you, for all the things you've done to get me through. And though you have a day, I want the world to hear and see that every day is Mother's Day to me.
Audio Jungle.
Through childhood days to teenage years, you were right there to wipe my tears. Cuts and scrapes were covered up in love. And if I was under attack, you were right there, you had my back. I swear you were sent straight from up above. You were right there to cheer me on, and took the time to teach me right from wrong, and brush away all of my little fears. Oh, and even when we disagree, you still work hard to help me see that everything is not as it appears.
Our invocation today is by Linda Susan Ulrich. For all the mothers and mother figures, the grandmothers, aunts, and extended family members who mother, the soon-to-be mothers, the wish they were mothers, the never wanted to be mothers, the it's complicated mothers, the birth mothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers, stepmothers, the used-to-be dad mothers, and more than one mom mothers, the single mothers, separated mothers, stay-at-home mothers, unhoused mothers, the grieving mothers, those who grieve their mothers, and those whose grief is complex, for all the communities that mother, for all those who depend on the Great Mother, you are held and beloved. As we celebrate the many ways we mother and are mothered, come, let us worship together.
I invite you to light your chalice with us this morning with these words from Dean Oliver. We light this chalice for mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one baby, child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and growing hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in this world. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with all those families separated at our southern borders, especially today, remembering all the mothers who are separated from their families and the children who are not close to theirs. I would like to invite you to rise in spirit for our opening hymn, hymn number 361 in the Gray Hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. The words will be shared on the screen. One of the ways that we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. We invite those who use the Zoom chat box to type your joy, concern, or milestone during the music for meditation. If you wish for your joy or concern to be acknowledged, but don't want to share it, you may also type that you have an unspoken joy or concern. Reverend Chris shares the joy that this past Thursday was the 1-year anniversary of AUUF calling them as settled minister. Reverend Chris and Calvin are so happy they came to Auburn and have enjoyed their first year here, even if it's been very interesting times to serve. Here's to the future. The middle school RE class will be reading the joys and concerns for the RE service next time. Please submit your joys and concerns to connorrushford@gmail.com by 5/13/20th. That's May the 13th. Thank you. Are there any others? May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, those shared out loud and those held in silence, be received into the care and concern of all who are present. The purpose of the Unitarian Universalist communities is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring human beings closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. As is our custom, on the second Sunday of each month, we now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support an organization in the community whose values align with our own, that is doing amazing work in the Auburn-Opelika area. For the month of May, 100% of our unpledged donations in our offering basket will go to support Troy Public Radio. Yay. Troy Public Radio is proud to serve its listeners in the tri-state coverage area of central and southeastern Alabama, southwest Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle. Since its founding in 1977, Troy Public Radio's mission has been to provide the listeners with an in-depth and comprehensive news coverage and music that enriches the mind and nourishes the spirit. They are listener-supported, and their work has been recognized with various awards from Alabama Broadcasters Association, the Society of Professional Journalists, and the Southeast Journalism Conference. Please give generously this morning as you are willing and able, as we bring the compassionate spirit of Unitarian Universalism into the world. To make a donation to this morning's offering online, please visit auuf.org/donate. Make sure that when you are making a PayPal donation, to indicate in the notes if your donation is for your pledge. If you are writing a check, please make the check payable to AUUF with a note on the memo line about whether it is for a plate or your pledge, and mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. That is P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. The offering will now be gratefully received. Our moment for all ages today is led by Sam Price, reading, Meet Me at the Moon by Gianna Marino.
Meet Me at the Moon. This is a story about mothers and how important mothers are. Samir is going to read this story with us. Meet Me at the Moon. Beneath the shade of the baobab tree, little one sang the calling song, and Mama came with a loving nuzzle. The land is dry, little one, said Mama. I must climb to the highest mountain, to the skies, to ask for rain. But Mama, said little one, I don't want you to go. I know, little one, but you will feel my love in everything around you. Wow, the giraffe, you see. What if I can't hear you, Mama? Listen for my sound on the wind, little one. I will sing to you. How will I know that you still love me? Asked little one. I will love you like the sun loves the earth, said Mama. When you feel the warmth of the sun, I will be loving you from where I am. But Mama, I won't be able to see you. Find the brightest star, little one. If we both look at the same star, it will be as if we are seeing each other. Mama, how will you find me again? When the night sky is bright, little one, meet me at the moon, where the sky touches the earth. I love you, little one, said Mama. Then Mama left to climb the highest mountain to ask the skies for rain. Samir, each night, little one found the brightest star. Knowing Mama was looking at the same star in the sky. Each day, little one listened to the wind and heard Mama's song. Oh, look up. Oh. And as the sun warmed the earth, little one felt love. You see, little one? Days passed, and then a week. The dry earth crumbled in the heat, and still Mama did not return. Oh, Mama did not return. Yeah. Oh. But then dark clouds finally rolled across the sky and cracked open with rain. But there was no song on the wind, no bright star to see, no sun to make little one feel loved and warm. Oh no, what to do? A long while, the clouds finally parted. Little one saw the moon high in the sky. Mama, you told me to meet you at the moon, but how will I reach it? See, how will you reach it? Oh, how will we reach the moon, Samir? Then little one remembered to sing the calling song. He sang deep into the night. Slowly, the moon dropped a little path across the plains. Little one saw something move in the light. "Mama?" cried little one. When the moon touched the earth, Mama answered the calling song. "You are in my most secret heart, little one," she cried. "My most secret heart! Oh, and you are in mine," answered little one. "I love you," said Mama. And that's the end of the story. What do you think about it, Samir?
By Samir. You ready? Okay.
A reading from Lisa Bovee-Kemper. In religious community, we share our joys and our triumphs, our sorrow and broken places. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad of experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with our hearts in very different places. It is especially so on this day, invented to honor the women who nurture. In this circle of care, we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be quantified in one single descriptor. Mothering can be elusive or infuriating, fulfilling or confusing, commonplace or triumphant. It exists in the everyday experiences of each person. There is no human being that is not connected to or disconnected from a mother. And so we honor the complexity of experience, writ large in flowered platitudes, but here in this space laid bare, honoring the truth in each of our hearts. There is room for all in this circle. If you have carried a child or children, whether or not they came to be born, we see you. If you have fervently wished to do so and circumstances or fate made it impossible, we see you. If you love children and we cannot see, whether because of death or estrangement, we see you. If you never wanted to be a mother, we see you. If you are happy to mother other people's children as an educator, an auntie, or a foster parent, we see you. If your mother hurt you, physically or emotionally, we see you. If you had no mother at all, we see you. If your mother is or was your best friend, we see you. If your gender says you are not a mother, and yet you take on the role of a nurturer, we see you. If you wonder whether your mothering has been enough, we see you. And if yours is a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so, today and always.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, 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 I know. I know, 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 I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul will unfurl its wings.
On television and in the movies, what they all have in common is the ability to nurture us into who we are, to love us into being. They kiss our boo-boos, they tuck us in at night, they read us bedtime stories, and they wipe our tears when we fall down. When we mess up, they're there for us, providing a non-judgmental ear and ready to help us to the best of their ability to get right back up and try again. I'm so grateful to have had a mother who is able to provide me such love. And I know not everyone has had such experiences. For some, Mother's Day is a painful holiday, a reminder of what they didn't have. Some of you may have had absent or abusive mothers, or mothers who couldn't be there for you physically or emotionally in ways you would have liked them to have been. You may have a more difficult time celebrating Mother's Day than me, wondering what the point is. If this is you, your feelings are absolutely valid. You have good reason to be suspicious of this holiday that comes around every May. But I still want to challenge you this morning. I want to ask, what if being a mother is more than biology? Many of us may be familiar with the African proverb that Hillary Clinton borrowed for the title of one of her books. It takes a village to raise a child. When Clinton's book first became famous, the title received an unexpected wave of criticism, mostly from conservative perception that she was arguing against the traditional family, meaning, of course, a cisgender straight set of mother and father who remain married throughout the child's lifetime. We don't need a village, they responded. We need a mother and a father. But to apply such an interpretation to the quote is to miss the point entirely. The proverb isn't trying to downplay the importance of biological parents at all. Indeed, study after study show the importance of parents as nurturers throughout the child's upbringing. Indeed, if absence of a parent, or if there is no other adult around to fulfill the role, the child is much more likely to suffer social and emotional difficulties later in life. Some studies even suggest that a lack of a nurturing parent early in life is one factor contributing to mental health disorders and even the possibility of becoming sociopathic. Yes, the point of this African proverb is to point out a deeper truth that's much more deep than biology. We have a need, not only for those who gave birth to us, but a fundamental need for other nurturers within our community that bless us throughout our lifetime. And it points that there are many more nurturers in our lives than the ones who gave birth to us. Indeed, one Swahili saying that is thought to have influenced the one Clinton quoted says, "Whomever is not taught by the mother will be taught by the world." It's a reminder that through our interdependence, we are constantly being mothered by people in our lives, that we're always being held because we're learning countless lessons from the people who care enough about us to help us be our best selves. And that's my thesis this morning. We have, some of us, a biological mother, but no one has a single mother. We have countless mothers who have loved us into being, standing by our sides and caring for us when we need them the most. There's a version of this idea that's to be found in the origins of Mother's Day as well. While I was living in England, I was pleasantly surprised to find out about their version of the holiday, Mothering Sunday. Though today it's taken on celebrations similar to its North American counterpart, honoring motherhood by encouraging children to celebrate their own mothers, it was not always so. In fact, it just started out as a distinctly ecclesiastical holiday. See, there was a time when everyone in the British countryside had a mother church, one where they were raised and nurtured and encouraged in the world. Mothering Sunday was the recognition of how important that congregation had been to them, no matter how far away they may be now. In early modern times, Mothering Sunday was traditional for people to travel to their mothering church, especially if they had moved away from their city or their village. The idea was to bring people back together in the environments they grew up in and come together for a special service that honored the many people who had nurtured them throughout their lives. Those who were servants were generally given time off, one of the only times of the year when they were, so that they could go a mothering, as they would say about those who had taken the privilege. Not only that, the practice became an important touchstone in family life because it was often the only time families could come together under one roof due to their work schedules. Thus, Mothering Sunday gave folks a chance to remind themselves how important all of their family was, whether biological or not. It's a recognition that no one person is responsible for nurturing us into being, that we are surrounded by mothers of all genders and ages who influence us and love us into becoming the kind of people we are. Being that the church was one of the most important parts of most people's lives, where so many social ties were formed, it was a recognition that the people who surrounded us were nurturing us. And some traditions even had people form a circle around the church building, holding hands in order to give it a symbolic big hug to remind them how important the people inside had been to their upbringing. The point of this is that we are constantly surrounded by communities of care that love us in the need. In times past, the town church often served as a community center and was where people came together. And it was only natural that that's where people were nurtured. The members of the community provided much care and nurture for so many kids who grew up in the congregation. Indeed, a village did raise the children. They were taught by the world things their mothers did not teach them. These folks came in a lot of different varieties, but what they all had in common was love and a desire to nurture the children. Who are the people in your life that mothered you into being, who believed in you, who loved you through the good times and the bad? Maybe it was the teacher who taught you to believe in yourself, who convinced you that you weren't as bad at math or English or history as you thought you were. There could have been a member at the church or synagogue or mosque you grew up in who taught you how loved and sacred you were and how important you are in the grand scheme of things. It could have been the neighbor who watched you when your parents were away, who baked you cookies and played with you until you got back. You might have had a father or a sibling, a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, or a cousin who nurtured you in times of need. Or maybe there's another non-biological parent. A shout out to all the amazing step parents, foster parents, and adoptive parents who go out of their way to nurture kids that they have no relation to for their entire lives, whose influence on those children's lives will be immeasurable. Whoever the people were who shaped you, who nurtured you to be here with us this morning, this service is for them because they mothered you just as much, or perhaps more, than your biological mothers. When we think of the word mother as a verb rather than a noun, it's easy to see how interconnected we are in the world and how much we truly need each other. How much, even when we're missing a biological parent in our lives, we still find people who fill that role. It presents a new meaning on the idea that no person is an ocean, is an island. Every one of us is in the ocean, a conglomeration of so many people influenced by innumerable experiences that we are scarcely aware of. And I believe it's a never-ending cycle. All of us have mothered others, either as a biological mother or through nurturing, loving relationships where we have loved another into being the best self they can be. But all of us continue to be mothered, whether our biological mothers are still with us or whether they were never with us. In fact, there may be people in this Zoom room with you right now who mother you or whom you have mothered. That's because we too are in relationship and a religious community, just like the people who founded Mothering Sunday in England realized, is a place where we can be reminded of our best selves, where we can be challenged to live up to our highest values. So today, whether AUUF is your mother church, or whether you have had a much longer, winding journey, I want to challenge you to remember all your mothers of all genders and ages you've had. In fact, let's do it right now. Let's invoke the spirit of all the people who have brought us to where we are today. We're going to try an experiment. I'm going to say, go ahead, try it. And I want to invite you, as you're willing and able, to type in the chat box right now who some of your mothers, biological or otherwise, have been, who have nurtured and loved you to this place in your life. I'm going to go off camera for just a minute so that I can read some of your responses in the chat box. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to finish up the service. So go ahead, type in the Zoom chat box. Who is it that mothered you into being the person you are today? I just read some of your responses and they're lovely. And please, if you're typing, don't stop just because I've gotten back behind the camera. Please feel free to continue invoking the people who have mothered you. And for all those who have and continue to mother us into being our best possible selves, we remember them this morning and give thanks for the many gifts they have given us. May their spirits ever be with us and guide us on our journey. And may we ever be mindful that their legacy is now our own. Science fiction writer Robert A. Heinlein once said, "Being a mother is an attitude, not a biological relation." As we move through life, may we ever be mindful that we are mothering and mothered by countless people. And in all we do, may we be aware that our attitude has the potential to nurture someone at a time when they need it the most, and remind them of how sacred they are, how valuable they are to the world, and how much they belong to our circle of care. May it be so. I would like to invite you to join us for our closing hymn, which is hymn number 95 in the gray hymnal, "There Is More Love Somewhere."
The words will be shared on the screen.
Please join me in extinguishing our chalices. You will find the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be our guest today for a virtual coffee hour here in the Zoom room after the service. We will be leaving the room open for conversation about the service and between one another. If you are not signed up for the AUUF Connect listserv, please make sure to do so to receive updates about the ways to connect virtually during this time. You can find information on signing up at our website, auuf.org/subscribe. We are looking for possible topics and facilitators for our virtual second hour sessions. If you are interested in leading a second hour in the coming weeks, please contact Chris Bastier. Laura Kloberg insists that you please check your email and respond and participate in the committees for the upcoming year. And do we have any additional announcements? Please rise in spirit for our sung benediction.
Go forth into the world in peace. Be of good courage, hold fast that which is good. Go forth into the world in peace. Love all people, rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. Go in peace.
Our benediction today is from an anonymous writer. We are never complete. We are never finished. We are always yet to be. May we always allow others to be and help and enable each other to grow towards all that we are capable of becoming. Now, go forth into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Prove all things. and hold fast that which is good. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.